Hi, and welcome to That's Ready Mysterious. Join me for an intriguing look into real-life mysteries. Who was the mad gasser of Mattoon? What was whaling at the Wilga waterhole? I'm not going to solve those mysteries, but they'll be interesting to learn about. I'm your host, Kelly with an I. Transcripts and references for all episodes can be found at that'sreadymysterious.wordpress.com. No apostrophe and no exclamation point. Today's tale is about the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. Codex Gigas translates to giant book, and that's exactly what the Codex Gigas is. It's about 91.5 centimeters, or 36 inches tall, about 51 centimeters, or 20 inches wide, and about 22 centimeters, or 8.7 inches thick. It weighs about 75 kilograms, or 165 pounds. It is known both for its size and for the full-page drawing of the devil on page 577. This drawing is how the Codex Gigas got the name Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas is the most broadly known medieval manuscript. The Devil's Bible has a full-page drawing of the devil. He's crouching on a throne with outstretched arms and legs. He is surrounded by flames, and his eyes appear to follow the reader as they turn the page. The devil sits opposite a drawing of the kingdom of heaven, which is on the facing page. The image of the devil is about 48 centimeters, or 19 inches high. The Devil's Bible is the largest surviving manuscript from medieval times. It is one of the most beautifully created manuscripts from the Middle Ages. It contains the complete version of both the Old and New Testaments. There are two pieces from Josephus Flavius, Antiquities of the Jews and the Jewish War. It also has an encyclopedia of the origin of words, St. Isidore of Seville's Etymologies. There is also the standard text for treating medicine at the time, Ars Medicinae, or the Art of Medicine. It also contains the 12th century Chronicle of the Bohemians, written by a monk named Cosmas. There is a calendar and works on penitence and exorcisms. The Codex contains religious, historical, medical, and magic-related works, as well as over 300 illustrations. Some believe that it once contained the Rule of St. Benedict, but that has since been lost. There were important sections on the Bohemian origin of the manuscript and its history. It contains many texts that have otherwise been lost or have not survived until today. The Codex contains 310 leaves made of vellum from donkeys, which make up 620 pages. Originally, the Codex had 320 vellum leaves, but at some point someone cut out the last 10. The Codex is intended as a work of history, but it was said to have been one of the wonders of the world. The Devil's Bible is believed to have been written by one person. There is a uniformity to the handwriting and illustrations. It's thought that the Codex would have taken 30 years to complete, so someone spent most of their life creating it. Experts who have studied it have said that it contains a lot of difficultly constructed and planned knowledge. It was a labor of love that required extreme mental and physical discipline. Legend says the manuscript was written by one monk by the name of Herman the Recluse. The story says that he broke his monastic vows and was sentenced to death by walling up. To save his life, he made a deal with the devil to write a book containing all of the world's knowledge, which was to be completed in one day. The devil agreed to help if Herman the Recluse gave him his soul in return. The picture of the devil on page 577 is supposed to show the moment when he came to collect Herman's soul. Some believe that the picture of the devil is a tribute to the manuscript's author. The National Library of Sweden explained that if the scribe who wrote the manuscript worked for 6 hours a day and wrote 6 days a week, the manuscript would have taken about 5 years to complete. If he were actually a monk, he would have only had 3 working hours a day, which would have meant it would have taken 10 years to write. If the scribe also ruled the lines to guide his writing, it would have taken even longer. Given the decorations that were added, they believe it would have taken 20 to 30 years to complete. The Codex Gigas is believed to be from Bohemia, a historical Czech land in the westernmost area of current-day Czech Republic. It was written between 1204 and 1230 AD. It is at least 800 years old. It was first discovered in the 1295 monastery inventory from the Plzeň Monastery. However, it's unlikely that the codex was written at this monastery. The monastery was simply too small and had too little money to have created such a large manuscript. A note said it was pledged to Sedlec, now Czechia. It also says that the codex was repurchased in that year for the Benedictine Order monastery. It was taken and incorporated into the collections of Habsburg ruler Rudolf II in the 16th century. In 1594, it was brought to Prague from Bromov Monastery, where it had been kept since 1420. King Rudolf II asked to borrow the codex, promising to return it, but he never did. It was later taken and sent to Stockholm during the Swedish siege of Prague at the end of the 30 Years' War in July of 1648. It was in the collection of Queen Christina and put into the library at Stockholm Palace. In 1697, Castle Tre Kronor burnt to the ground. Sweden's National Library and Royal Archives were lost. Of the 24,500 books and 1,400 manuscripts that had been in the castle, only 6,000 books and 300 manuscripts survived. Someone threw the Codex Gigas out the window during the fire, and it supposedly landed on someone standing beneath the window, injuring them. Some people don't believe this story, but the binding does have some damage from the fire and fall. In 1768, the Codex was put into Stockholm Palace. It stayed in Sweden until being briefly sent to Prague. Sometime between New Year's Day 1878 and 1883, the Codex was returned to the newly built National Library in Stockholm. Between September 2007 and January 2008, it was lent to Prague. As of 2008, it was back in the Treasury Room in the National Library in Stockholm. Who was Herman the Recluse? Why did he write the Codex Gigas? How long did it take him to write it? How and why was the devil's image added? What do you think? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to today's episode of That's Ready Mysterious. Join me next week for another captivating mystery.